Brother, how you doing?
What's happening, Brian? You right?
Yeah, good man, good. It's been a while, a couple of years now.
I know. I wouldn't know how many years.
I think, last time I was home was 4 years ago, and obviously in between that was COVID, wasn't it? So
yeah,
it's been a bit of a trip since then, and from Brinteg days, I was literally like speaking to you earlier about how when you had your car. What car was that again?
Yeah, it was an RX-8. So we used to go around like late at night and grab a McDonald's, go for a cruise down to Southers.
Yeah.
And potter about, won't we?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
You've been an adrenaline junkie. You've always been into that sort of stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm an average petrol head. Always like done extreme sports like surfing, BMXing. But yeah, just with the cars, obviously been busy with them. But always into my cars and just something of an interest of mine.
Who got you into it?
Well, my dad used to buy me like figurines. Like he's probably who started it. He's not like he's been driving around in his van since God knows I can't remember. But he's always had like nice cars. But then he got to a stage where I had my motocross bike, and he bought a van. So he's just been driving around that for probably I think since I was about 11.
Wow.
So like 20 years now.
Yeah.
So, since he's had that van. But from there went like remote control cars, and then one thing led to another. Probably Fast and Furious had a big part of it. A Need for Speed Underground. But
man, you used to drive around like Need for Speed. I remember.
Don't say that.
I used to hold on to the side thing and just be like, "Fuck."
Yeah, I know. I weren't that bad. I wouldn't say I was that bad.
You're controlled. You're controlled. I'll give you that. But you've always just been. You've always like your adrenaline, I suppose.
Yeah.
Man, let's talk about, obviously we can go on for ages with your rugby career and how good it's gone and still continuing to go. But obviously you've got a side business as well as with Jack Wilkins, is that right?
Yeah. So it's a weird one. So I've known Jack for a few years now. Well, not a few years, quite a lot of years. And both of us petrol heads used to see him driving around in his Subaru, and I had an Evo at the time. And then we'd pass and always wave. And then like somehow we got friends on Facebook. And we ended up meeting for a coffee. And he wanted to show me this BMW i8. So I think he was trying to sell it to me at the time. But then we got talking. Like we used to meet for coffees quite a bit. And he used to like go to the auctions, buy his own cars. Like used to flip cars on the side. And then one thing led to the next. Like I was buying my cars, I was like running them around for a year and then selling them and just like breaking even kind of thing. So it was like free motoring.
Yeah.
Because I've always done it with my own stuff. Like I've bought cars and then they've always held their value.
Yeah.
But then one thing led to the next. Like with the boys in rugby, they used to like not get stung on. Yeah, they used to get stung on deals. So everyone used to ask me, "Oh, what's the best deal at the minute?" And we used to have like some crazy deals, but then some weren't too good, and then they were getting pushed into cars that probably they shouldn't have been pushed into, and it's gone one thing to the next, and like we do finance, we've done some nice cars from a Fiesta to like some supercars.
Wow.
So yeah, it's good because I get the little taste of driving a nice car, but then I can just run around in anything and keep myself happy because I get that little bite of driving in something nice.
Yeah. Is when you seen Jack and you said back in the day when you started, you just like flick the light at each other. Is that like car flirting? Is that like
yeah, he's quite a big flirt. So, but yeah, probably one of the biggest flirts. But yeah, it was like a strange one. We always think about it. We used to go down to Cowbridge, just meet up for a coffee. Like I would finish rugby, meet up, and then we just like flick through what's going through the auctions and see something tasty we can buy, and then we'd sometimes go up and view the car that we wanted to bid on, and then it'd be like, oh, hang on, we haven't won this, and then you're like flicking through the catalogue, see what else is going. But yeah, I just enjoy it. It's something I've always done, and I don't find it as work.
No.
That's the good thing about it. Like I like saving the boys money, and obviously Joe Blogs as well. If they come to me, I know I can do better than main dealer prices, and we offer the same service.
What's the business called?
Cube Club Asset Sourcing Group.
Nice.
So, Jack always used to say, "Oh, that's cute," and we would think of names. So we're coming up with like all the traditional prestige VIP motoring and all that palaver, and then it just like Jack said, "Oh, that's cute," and I was like, "Hang on, there's something here." And I was like, "Cute
yeah.
club," and then because we try and provide a service where if someone comes to us, we can get like whatever they want for like trade value really, or get a very good deal on. So if someone says, "I want I don't know, a Mercedes, GLE, like a Jeep," or come to me, I want a Ducati, or like we have stuff like boys out like watches, anything like that.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's just something that we provide. Like it's more of a concierge service that say you go to me, I'm looking for this car. We'd be like, right, we can try and save you this much, but we know we can normally beat main dealer. If we can't do it, we won't do it. We'll just say, but like ideally, I want your best interest is good for us.
Obviously, yeah. Well, man, it's pretty cool to be honest, and like you said, something you just said, and I really like is the fact that you went, like I don't see it as work. Like everything if you think about it, everything you've done, even rugby, even though it's you have some tough injuries and whatnot, it's always been behind it a fun.
Yeah.
Like I know rugby can get professional and it gets hard, and sometimes the fun can go if it's getting tough. But like if you have that mindset towards work always that it's fun, like you're always going in there with the best interest.
Yeah, like with rugby, like from the age of 6, it's just felt like I've done the same thing. Like you train Tuesday, Thursday, and then you play on a Saturday. It feels like it hasn't changed. It's not a job.
Yeah.
Like some people look at it different, but I still feel like I'm not like I've never looked at money side of things of playing or anything like that. If you go in with that attitude, it's the wrong attitude.
Yeah.
Like I know, like some people say, I want to be in X amount playing rugby, and that's the wrong way to go. I've never looked at that, but like it will come along the way. If you're obviously top of the game, it will come, but it's just like it's felt like not a job. It's just I train, I eat, and I play. Like, the hard bit of it is the injury side of it.
You've been obviously a bit unfortunate more than recently with injuries and head knocks and stuff like that. But you've always been pretty like vigorous, I suppose, with your eating, like teetotal at one stage in your career.
That's changed. Yeah.
Do you think like there's a fine line obviously with alcohol or letting your hair down? Like I think sometimes you need to do that because in such an intense sport, intense career, it can get the worst of you as well.
Yeah. Well, from a young age, like I was like 15, 16, I used to go out and pretend, like get the roof and all that. But then there's a point where I was going out all the time. I was like, well, if I want to kick on, I know I need to cut out drinking, and which I did. And say in the off season when I was probably 19 when I actually came back from New Zealand was the first time I had a drink. For probably 2 years with my brother. Went to Swansea, but then after I'd be like off season, I'd only drink for probably the first 2 weeks, and after I wouldn't drink. And then the first probably time I drank in season was probably like 26.
Yeah.
And then when I was like 27, then I was after before my second cap for Wales, I was going out like most weekends, playing my best rugby. But it's probably had an effect on me now. Maybe, I don't know. Like
you never know.
Injury wise, like I always think if you're. It was weird because I used to, like, as soon as I would drink, I would, like, on the Sunday then I'd go out, like, go on the bike, sweat it out.
Yeah.
But then I started, like, feeling fine, like, on the Monday, and, like I could train as normal because I don't get bad hangovers. But, it's a fine line, and if people want to get to where they get to, it's sacrifice, and that's what I felt like I'd done early on, which paid dividends. For the start of my career.
Saying that though as well, like after a game, I don't know about you, but like I can't get to bed till like 3 a.m. anyway. Like your adrenaline's so high. Like if it's a late game anyway, like you're otherwise lying there in bed wide-eyed anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like it is sometimes good to have like a couple and relax and switch off, and then you do like fall asleep the same kind of thing. But I know, like, I was going out and like you get in a 3 and then it's basically the same sleep that you've had or anything. But it does have a toll. Massively. But it's got to be at the right time, in the right place, kind of thing. You can't do it too much, kind of thing.
Yeah, we'll go bringing it all the way back now. Then anyway, so obviously from Brintig, always been involved with rugby. Obviously, you have, and then you had the opportunity to go to New Zealand. I was trying to figure out where in New Zealand you went.
Yeah, so ended up at Christchurch. It was a bit
South Island.
Yeah, South Island. So it was well, not mental, but like I think the start of when was it? The start of the year, school year. So it would have been like September time. But we were going up to North Wales for like we have family up there, so we used to have a house up there, so we used to stay up there. And we were driving up, and my dad was like, "Oh, do you still want to go to New Zealand?" I was like, "Oh, I wouldn't mind." And then literally, like at the end of the year, we planned to go, and like at the time, he was like had trials for Ospreys and all that. And my dad was like, "Well, you can go, but you know you're going to New Zealand at the end of the year." And he was like, one of them is like, if they really want you, they'll come looking for you, kind of thing. And I knew I was going, so like it did bother me a little bit because you never know what would happen. But I went, and it was probably one of the best things I've done. So we left 2 days after my last GCSE. Landed there without any idea what we were going to do. Basically, stayed in the Airbnb the next day, like because of the jet lag. My dad's like dragging me out to 7 o'clock. We're walking around, like getting to know the area, and then by like talking to people, and they were like, "Oh yeah, Canterbury," and all that. So we ended up going up to see where Canterbury like train and all that. So it's Rugby Park, it's called. It's just basically my dad, you know, my old man, he's nuts. So he knocks on the door. He's like, "Yeah, my son wants to join the academy."
No way.
Yeah. But fair play, like they take us in, and Matt Sexton spends like 2 hours with us, like saying what they do, how they go about their business, showing me like the gym, like the analysis they do, like so like at the time they used to like film like one player for the whole game, and then you go through all your game.
Wow.
So this is back like 2006. So literally spend ages with us, and then they were like, "All right, come back, like we do some testing and all that." So like for the first week, I trained with like the academy. So just doing like weights testing, like 1500 testing, and at the time I weren't fit. Like I could lift. So I was like 16, so I was fairly strong. But like fitness wise, I weren't fit, and it was like probably like I was a little bit too young. But then they said, "Oh, your best bet's going to school." So you had St. Bede's, which is the school I ended up, or Christchurch Boys High, which was like Dan Carter's school. So they were the two picks. So St. Bede's had like a international program where boys from normally would be from Japan come over, learn English, and then get the chance to play rugby in New Zealand. So we ended up doing that. I'd go to like mainstream classes, so do like 2 days. So it was like accounting and PE. So I'd train, do my weights, do rugby, and then go to like one class a day.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then like obviously kicked on from there. But that was like the second year.
How long were you there for? 2 years?
So I was out 2 years, 2 seasons.
Two seasons.
So the first season, went out there. Because I was like halfway through the season, so I didn't do. It was called the ESOL program, so I didn't do the ESOL. I was with them, like I trained, but like I didn't really like full on with them. So like when the boys like say we had a day off, I was going around traveling with my dad in New Zealand. And then second year I did the ESOL program, but like the first year I was obviously the thirds. So we won they would play we'd play against like more club teams. So when I got there, the team that we played in the final, like St. Bede's got beat, and then prior to playing in the final, and then in the last game, then we beat them.
Wow!
And literally it kicked off because they were like they weren't schoolboys; they were like club rugby boys, so it was like a bit different. And obviously it's quite like it was all boys school, and like they were strict. Like I used to have to tie my hair up, so they were like very strict, and then just full on kicked off. And I was like, "What is going on here?" Like it's like being back in Bridgend. But it was such a great experience.
Your dad, man, as well. Like, don't interrupt, but your dad, he sacrificed a lot as well. Like, so he was over there basically the whole duration as well.
Yeah, so we eventually got, like, we moved out the Airbnb like within like 2 weeks, probably less than that. Got an apartment, and we would just literally like mess around. But then because we have businesses back home, he'd be on the phone at 12 o'clock in the night, like taking calls. Because of the time difference. So for him to do his work, you'd have to be either up very early in the morning or late at night. But like, it was amazing for him because he loved it, and it was kind of like he had time to like relax and enjoy himself. And he says straight away, he says, "Oh, don't go back over there." But like the second year, then I went out on my own, and then my parents came over, like they surprised me. So for the first game,
it's unbelievable, man. And like what a plunge of that, like taking the opportunity at that stage, because obviously Ospreys and all that going on, you could have been fear of like that FOMO, fear of missing out, but saying that, like, do you believe that was probably one of the best things you've ever done for the development of your sporting career?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it changed me as a player. Like, it was different because, like, I don't know if it changed me because I've always kind of played the same. It's just experiencing something different, and it is like, I remember a coach said before, like Wales were 5 years behind, as in like this. I felt like the schooling system. So like now we've got like Cardiff and Vale College, who've basically got like the Blues players, like younger boys, like academy. So they do their weights, they study in, and they play as well. And then they take that little step up. Like they were doing it back then. Like Hamilton boys had like a full-time academy, and we played them in top 4 in my second year. And like we came third in New Zealand, and they were just like, they were class, like, but they had like a full-time academy. I kind of did, like, it was kind of like academy, but it was a bit different because it was for like foreign boys to come over, learn English and train really and play.
That's mad. And did obviously with the hair and everything over there, did they just think you were like a Polynesian or Maori or something?
Yeah, so obviously get it all the time.
Yeah.
Because obviously my dad's from Iran. With the hair, I think it didn't help. So they thought I was like not an islander, but everyone thought I was a Kiwi, and I would talk, and then like, who's this guy? Where have you come from? But
then like I know your dad a lot, and they're massive into the wrestling and everything like that. Do you think? Did you ever implement that into your game at all? Obviously being a flanker as well.
Yeah, like I think little things have helped. Like, so we used to mess around in the living room, like me and my brother try and wrestle my dad, and then it got to a stage where I was too big for my dad. So I knew like if I just went hard at him, he wouldn't be able to stop me. But it does. Like you look at breakdown and all that. It's like certain techniques maybe I've picked up. Like we get taught some things that like you've got the croc roll and all that, which is similar to wrestling, but it's ways of doing it that probably I do without knowing I do it kind of thing. Like it is like the breakdown can be technical, but at the end of the day, you got to just get low and hit a rock, and it's a bit different to league.
Yeah, massively different league. I remember once we did a jiu-jitsu class, and like obviously there's massive difference in the sport, but at the same time there's a lot of similarities. Keeping your head tight to their head, hips in close, like things that I remember I did it, and they're like, oh, he's picked it up quite quickly compared to someone who's never been in certain situations on the mats, on the floor. But end of the day, then though, like they just know techniques and things that could just put you to sleep pretty quickly. But
because you can see in league it does transfer massively. Like with the ruck area, you're like flipping them on the back, you're trying to keep them tight on their back, which is exactly the same as wrestling. It does in union, it does, but it transfer a little bit. Say like ruck time, you are trying to flip someone and pin them. But it's not as much as I say, like league, like wrestling transfers over. Obviously, the tackling side, but at the end of the day, like when you're running, when someone's running at you and you're running someone, you just want to bend them in half. You don't think about technique.
Oh, that's it. It goes out the window when you've got someone flying into you off the kickoff anyway, man. I don't look forward to it at all. That's why I try and get the touch judge inside me in the defense. Man, the other thing, obviously, like there's so much to go through with you, and obviously going through the Cardiff Blues, playing for Wales, playing for the British and Irish Lions. Like, do you kind of ever pinch yourself now and go, like, man, I've achieved that? Like, is like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
I've always said, like, I've always wanted to go to a World Cup. No, I've always wanted to win a World Cup. Like I say like that to try and play it down, but that's always been my massive, like, biggest ambition is to go and win a World Cup. And like my first World Cup, it was amazing. Like where I started, like my under-20s World Cup, and then my first cap, and my first World Cup they were all three in Japan. It's such a nice country, but getting the chance to like run out and actually play in a World Cup game was amazing. And we made the semi-finals, and we were like that far away from making the final. It would have been England in the final, so it could have gone either way. But I do like, the big thing was like the Lions when that came around weird because
COVID, wasn't it?
Yeah, COVID. I dislocated my shoulder like for Cardiff, and then ended up like just rehabbing it. And then I got to a stage where like, I was back fit, my shoulder was good. And then we were training for the summer tour for Wales. And then we were up in North Wales. And so we came back. I watched the Japan Lions game, and then like tips goes off, Alan Wynne goes off, but like you see Alan Wynne, like he's like his shoulder's bad, and you think, oh, he's struggling. And I seen tips go off, and I was like, oh, he's probably just got HIA or something like that. I didn't think anything of it. And then I looked I watched the game, and then about an hour later, like my phone's going off, and it's Thumper. He's the manager for the Lions. Okay. So I pick it up and I go, all right, Pat? He goes, oh, I was happy you're going to be now. And I was like, oh, what's that? I kind of knew what he was calling about, but I didn't want to say. He's like, well, you better get your passport ready and pack your bag. I was like, okay. I was like, oh, where do I have to be? He's like, right, you have to be in next airport like, say, 9 o'clock in the morning. I think it was like 8:30 in the morning or something like that. A car's going to pick you up from the Vale, get there, get down there, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like saying like Adam Beard was going to get called. Like they didn't know what was happening, but they said, oh, they're going to call Adam Beard now. So I shared a taxi down with him, and we met the extra boys because they just had their finals. Yeah, so we flew up with them to meet the boys in Scotland. And then we got all that kit stash, wherever. And then he was like, Richie, right, what's happening here, right? Like, quick, like, meeting a lot of people. But, like, a lot of the management team were part of the Welsh squad before. So, like, the physio. So I knew a lot of the people anyway. And, like, now, I've been around for so long. Like, I know a lot of the boys anyway. So, Richie flew to South Africa, got there, got to my room. And I was like, flipping heck. Like, it was like, I kind of just like clicked, and I was like, bloody hell, that went fast. But like, I was like, I was here. I'm here now. And it was crazy. It was a crazy, like, 48 hours. Like, it didn't really click until I, like, put my bags down, got in my room, and I was kind of like on my own. Because it was carnage, like, leading up to leaving the house, because I couldn't find my passport. And the last time I had my passport was when we travelled to France with Wales for the Grand Slam game, which we lost, but we won the championship. And then my wife was in Cardiff, like on a all day bender. So I was like, I rang her. I was like, I need to come pick you up, because I didn't see her for like a week because we were up in North Wales. So Richie, I picked her up because we were going to spend time the next day. I picked her up. She's half cut. And then I'm trying to pack and then find my passport. And then, it was crazy, but it was such a great tour. It's
man, I bet, like you said, there's so much going on so quick. It takes a while to digest it all. But like, is it like, obviously there's a lot of Welsh people in there, a lot of other nations in the camp. Is there anyone in particular you just clicked with outside the Welsh team?
Like all the boys are sound. Like I couldn't say a bad thing about anyone. It's just like your perception of players. So like Kyle Sinclair, I thought, because always on the, like when we've always, I would not say that, but when we've always played against him, like like you talk about players like Gats used to, and used to be like when you like not target players, but like because he was quite hot-headed, but like met him and he's the nicest bloke ever. Like, yeah, and I was so surprised. Like I went like he was driving like all the like recovery stuff. He loved the sauna, so anyone like who wanted a sauna late at night, he'd be there and he'd be like flipping in there for ages.
All about it, like,
yeah, and
it's all about the wellness.
Yeah,
that's cool, man. It's it's good to like. I think that's one thing, a blessing with podcasting. You kind of get to know the person behind the rugby field. Like you said, there's so many people I know on the field. You're like, what an idiot. But then you get them off the field and they're one of the nicest people, you know, or like, you know, soft spoken. Like I want to actually talk a little bit about like Warren Gatland as well. We kind of spoke a little bit earlier about him saying the similarities between him and John Keir. When I said John Keir is really much on motivation and like he'll make you believe in something. Like first in the World Cup, playing against Tonga, Papua New Guinea and Cook Islands, like NRL players, stats, Super League everywhere. But he made us believe like we were as good as them, essentially. And like, you know, a lot of us are part-timers. Yeah. You hear a lot of stuff about Gatland. Can you give him some insight on what he's like? Yeah,
so like the easiest way to describe him is like when you go to the game, you're like before, like normally we have a meeting before we leave, and like throughout the week, it just makes you feel that you're the most prepared side going out there, and like you're in the best like condition, skills, like fitness, everything, that you're at the top of your game, and like you can beat anyone on any given day, kind of thing. And it just gives you that confidence, and like it's like backing that you can go out and do anything. And I think it's just that confidence is like you got like it was weird, like you just get you through the roof. Be like, you know, you could take on any team and beat them. And like he's like a phenomenal coach for Wales, like what he's achieved, and he's done so well over the years here. Obviously it was sad to see him go, but it's a different era now. There's a lot of younger boys coming through, which is nice to see. But yeah, it was a like I didn't spend too long with him. I had like, I think it's like 3 years, I think.
What, with Gats?
Gats, yeah.
That's still long enough to get to know someone. Yeah. Because how long are you in camps for when you're normally in the Six Nations and stuff?
We've got Six Nations, so that's 8 weeks in total. And like World Cup camps is, I think it was 2-3 months, and then you even count the camps beforehand. Like,
really?
Yeah. They're savage. They're horrible. Man.
I bet. I've seen some of the photos of like the stuff you do. All altitude. You do a lot of altitude training, isn't it?
Yeah. So normally end up at like Switzerland.
Really?
And it's, you got a gondola, you go up and down, and the height, I'm not too sure. I think it's like 1,500, and it changed. So it's just like, you're sleeping at altitude, training at altitude. It is tough, but it's like you get prepared the best you can for the biggest competition you'll ever probably play at.
So when you're sleeping at altitude, does that mean then that you're like, your heart rate's, it takes a while to adjust then? So is it sitting higher, then it gradually drops down? Or?
Yeah, so your heart rate increases. So obviously you're trying to get more oxygen into your body. So when you train altitude and sleep altitude increases. I'm trying to think of the word. I do know
it's not red blood cell.
Yeah, the red blood cell count. So then, obviously, the longer you spend altitude, like when you come to sea level, then it makes it so much easier. But like even like walking up the stairs, like boys are getting out of breath, having nosebleeds and stuff like that. And it is like I don't do well at altitude at all. I felt all right, like boys are struggling to sleep and stuff, but your weight just drops down because you're burning so much like more energy, like because your body's working harder.
Of course.
But it is tough. Like it is a big thing. Like it's so beneficial, like for the long, like not long term, but for what you're doing. And the same as like heat adaptation and stuff like that. It's just getting your body to the peak where you need to be.
Do you think then, so when you come back then to Wales, playing and stuff, do you feel like you had an extra set of lungs playing or getting around? Or?
Yeah, it's just easier to run around. Because that difference, like we're sea level here, but like even when you go to South Africa and play at altitude there, you feel it straight away, unless you're in and out a day.
Yeah.
But like say you spend 3 days you can feel it like straight away. So you need to spend time at altitude. And I think normally the times, like if you're going to go somewhere, it's like a minimum of a week, or you get there on a Friday and play Saturday. So you're in and out. So it doesn't affect your body.
That's pretty. It's interesting, all that stuff, and that's what I mean. The game, technology-wise and research-wise, has gone so much further. Yeah. One thing I want to ask you, man, what's been one of your toughest moments in your career, or even in your personal life, that's challenged you?
God, toughest moment. I don't know. Like probably the time when I had my first cap, and then I had that 4-year window where I didn't get my cap, and I used to joke about it like when I was on a summer tour, because I thought I weren't going to go on like that summer tour when I had my second cap. I was like, oh, this is like my Lions tour. And it was weird because I had my first cap, had my second cap 4 years later, and then the third time then I was going on a Lions tour.
Wow.
But I used to like joke about, like I'd say it all the time. But I think the first like 2 like autumn international Six Nations coming back after my first cap, when I wasn't involved in the squads, because I was involved in squads prior by like holding a tackle bag and stuff. I was like kind of like, my first game wasn't the best. I got like a broken nose and I got knocked out, it didn't help. But it was like that 4-year window. But then the first 2 like camps, the autumn and Six Nations, I struggled with, because I thought I was playing good rugby, and then I weren't getting picked, and boys were getting picked ahead of me. But then after that, I was like, well, at the end of the day, I just need to keep my head down, keep playing well, good for the Blues, and the red jersey will like eventually come. I just always thought like, just play, keep my head down, play well for the Blues, because I always want to achieve stuff for, well, Cardiff, I should say now.
Cardiff. I was known as the Blues, to be honest. So.
Yeah, and it did eventually come. Like the first like 6 months was tough. Not tough. Like I've never thought that. I've always thought like I want to be on that pitch playing.
Of course, you're a competitor.
Yeah, but like some boys maybe thought different and like have a negative effect. But at the end of the day, I thought if I'm performing on pitch, it's someone's opinion, what they think of me. And it actually went down, and then had my second cap, and then in New Zealand against Tonga, and then came back, and then I got into the autumns, and then it was like my first game against Australia back home, which is amazing because it's nice to have all your family there and play in the Principality Stadium. I remember like normally do like a walkthrough before we have team meal, before play, like a pre-match meal, and like I'm walking down and Gats is like right next to me. He's like, "Oh, you've waited a long time for this." I was like, in my head, I was like, "Oh, no shit, Sherlock." But like,
don't reckon, Gats.
but it like kicked on from there. And do you mean like if anyone said, "Would you change it?" I said, "Well, yeah, it'd be nice to would have played them, but like, there's some like there's great players about, and
we've always been blessed. I mean, in Wales with probably good scrum halves, good flankers. I always thought like." Flankers or number 8s. Do you reckon we always had like if we went back to when you started, who was the flankers then?
Yeah, so when I started the Blues, I'm showing my age now. Rushy was a Mama Maltika, Martin Williams, Sam Warburton, like the list goes on, and you look at the boys that when like obviously I had my first cap, but then the boys who were around, like you had Tobes, Tips, and Warby, like so.
Yeah, true.
And Dan Lydia, like doing these, like we are blessed in Wales for back row. I don't know what it is. It might be the water or something, or the same father. But but like you look at like just per Cardiff, like we got the back row. The list goes on. Like we've got Tobes here there now. We got Jim Bothan, Shane Lewis-Hughes, Tom Young, Ellis Jenkins. I'm going to miss some names now, but like
some people are like you fucking
Ollie Robinson, the list goes on, and it's just very competitive, and it's good. Like that's a good thing about it. Like you have players there, and it just pushes people on. But that's what you want. You want competition, and it's good for the game. Like you see younger boys coming through, and they like obviously pushing older boys, but it's at the end of the day, you want to leave that jersey where someone else can take it on and push it, keep pushing it on, like because you're a reminder of that jersey. It's not yours. It's
true.
Yeah, you look after it.
Yeah. Do you I know? How do I say with you, Josh? So I've known you over the years, obviously from when we were younger, but I always found you different to the average rugby player. Not as in skill set, but I mean your personality, the person you essentially in Wales. I find we're big fish in a small pond sometimes. Yeah. But you've always kept humble around me, and whenever I've always kept in touch with you, or through a couple of the boys like Callum stuff. You always kept yourself pretty grounded with me, and you never you see some of the boys who carry on and stuff. And I think that's probably your mindset then when it comes to playing rugby. Some people 4 years getting one cap and then going 4 years without another cap.
Yeah.
You kick stones and go F this. I'm not, you know what I mean? But that just shows the character of the person you are.
Yeah,
so,
no,
generally, man, it's been great to know you and call you a friend, because you need people like that around you. And if, for instance, if I was to train with you, I'm training with someone who's not just a good athlete, but just a good person. And why do people always hang around, for instance, not comparing the two, but Sonny Bill Williams, obviously in New Zealand, people love him, not just because he's an athlete, but actually because he's a really good person as well. And, that's contagious. That's what people want. They want that. And some people need those people in the club as well. You know what I mean? How many zappers do you have in a rugby team? You're like, man, get out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, man, but I'm very grateful for you to come on this and share about your stories. And still a bit to go, but I'm, I just wanted to show you some love, man.
No, at the end of the day, don't change who you are. Do you mean people grow, people change, but at the end of the day, I've always, whoever I meet, I try and treat everyone the same. It doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter what you do. At the end of the day, you got to treat everyone the same. So
that's good.
Yeah.
How was it going this year, the Blues, Cardiff?
Yeah, good. Yeah, we had a rough start of the season, but we've had, I think 3 games on the bounce we've won. We haven't done that for a long time, so it's getting to where we wanted to get to. We got the talent and players to do, I've said for years, to do stuff. We won the Challenge Cup a couple of years ago, but we need to kick on now, and we're quite high up the league, but it's still early days of the season, so we just need to make sure we're better in each week and just winning those games that we need to win. But I've been injured, so the boys have done so well, and you can see it's changed a lot. Pre-season, the boys had a class pre-season, and coming in after the summer tour, you could see the buy-in was there, and just the boys just trained hard, and you can see everyone was gelling, and it wasn't any sapping or anything. You could see boys were fresh, so happy to be in their environment. And sometimes we've been everyone's been there, you've been in an environment and you feel like you're in a little hole.
Yeah.
And it's just you do pre-season, then you come out of it and the energy level's down, but the boys came out and energy levels through the roof, which is good. And the boys are big and strong and fit. So
yeah. How do you find that, obviously, when you're injured and you see them winning 3 on the trot?
Yeah.
For you, regardless of how many games you play, like you said, there's so much competition there. Does a bit of your brain go, oh, I need to step it up when I get back? Or you're at a different stage now where you're I trust the processes that I've done, and
yeah,
you get the next crack.
Yeah, I've always been there. I need you need to work hard and keep your head down, do the rehab, trust the conditioners that they're going to get you fit and strong, and then you got to do your little extras and all that, just making sure you're ready to come back in. And even if it's homework, plays change and stuff like that, so prior to go, I always like a month before coming back in, being in meetings, watching and all that, making sure I know the language.
Yeah.
Then a week before, you're oh, hang on, I'm in a week before, you're trying to learn and pick it up quickly, kind of thing. But yeah, at the end of the day, competition, love it. I don't think too much of it. I just make sure I do me, get me right, and make sure I'm fit to get on that pitch.
So now you've just got that was the stock standard answer. Now you're going to give me the real answer. No, I want to know more about obviously with injuries and stuff as you've got older. Is it anything you've changed? Have you got more into mindset stuff? Do you add anything different instead of just lifting weights all the time? Are you more about the wellness side? It's you talk about Sinclair in the Lions.
Yeah.
Are you into that?
I've always been good with my off-field stuff, as in looking after my body, flexibility and stuff like that. And I think when I'm injured, I try and like keep my mind away from rugby. So that's where the car stuff comes in perfect.
Yeah.
Like, you need that distraction. Like I've always, as soon as I leave the training ground, I know I can switch off. Like I've always been the same. I can switch off, go home, do wherever, but like not think about rugby. But a lot of people take it home with them, and that's where probably the pressure side comes of it, and like where boys struggle with it, like mentally and stuff. I've always been good at like doing my work, get like say leaving training, I'm switching off from it, unless I know like I need to do a little bit of analysis or whatever, but like I'll never take it home with me. And then I can do say car stuff, like it takes my mind away from that, but it doesn't take too much away where I'm not like overworking, overexhausting myself. It's pretty simple. I can sit my laptop for like an hour or two, do my work, and then that's it, done. But it's not continuous kind of thing.
It sounds like fun, man. It sounds exciting. Obviously, like you said, it comes back to doing things that you enjoy doing. So, you know, I think you talk about you do a little bit of surfing now and then as well.
Yeah, I've been for a while. two shoulder offs.
Yeah, I know.
3 dislocations.
Do you have any fears, man, as well, like post rugby? I don't want to scare you, actually.
It's getting dark, this is.
No, but I mean, like, because like you talk about earlier, you're getting like numbness in your fingers. And
so that's what like the operation I just had now is just to clear out, like I got like weakness in my like my shoulder, my bicep, and my fingers. But yeah, fingers crossed. It takes a while for it to settle down, but fingers crossed that it sorts it. But yeah, you always worry like, or you're going to be like after rugby. You don't think when you're younger, you think you're indestructible, which I was lucky up until I think I was like 27. I think I had my first op. So I had a fracture in my jaw in the semi-finals of the Challenge Cup. 2 weeks later, we had the final, and I dislocated my shoulder 5 minutes in. But that was quite hard, because that was probably, I would say that's probably one of the hardest things, because I've worked so long with the Cardiff to be on that pitch in a final and to try and win silverware. But then like first half, like I couldn't do anything. So like I'm there in a sling watching the boys in the first half. I was like, what are we doing? Like we had loads, three, I think 2 or 3 of us went off. Oh. And then I was like, what are we doing? I was like, boys, like I was in the change room. I was like, boys, just lift it. Like, come on. Like we got more in us here. And Richie straight away, Thomas puts Anscombe puts a kick in, Thomas like grubbers it, and then we score like, and it was unreal, like the turn of events, and then we end up winning. Yeah, so it was a good a couple of days.
Nice.
But I lost where we were.
Nah, it's good, man. I was just talking about injuries and talking about like obviously motivating the boys. Yeah, and stuff.
So like I was saying, like when you're young, you think you're indestructible, and like with me, I've been lucky because I think like not drinking and looking after my body's health. But like as I'm getting old, like I've like obviously everyone has issues. Like you look at shoulders with players, like I think is like, if you scan 3 boys' shoulders in rugby, like one of them will have like a slap tear, it's called. Okay. So like it's a chance of it coming out basically. But it's just that like looking after your body's a massive thing for me. Like just eat. I don't like, I eat well. Like I'm not strict on my diet. Like,
what are you weighing now? Because you're looking good, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm lean at the minute. I have to be. For me to eat, like when I'm injured, I'm a bit weird. Like I know like how to keep my weight off and keep it like level. So all I do is have breakfast. I'll have my porridge because I'm not really training flat out now. I like sometimes like skip lunch and I just have evening meal because I've grown up eating like rice and chicken, so normally it's curry, and I'll have like a big plate of rice and chicken. So that's what I've always eaten. But like, compared to what, say, maybe you eat of rice, it'd be like a small portion, but like mine's a massive plate full. Yeah. But it's just like.
So what are you sitting around now, kgs?
Well, I weighed yesterday, I was 99.
99?
Yeah.
What are you playing at normally?
Normally it's like 103 to 106. I did go up to 108, but I felt like a slob, around the park. But yeah, after my op, because I had issues coming around, like just because of the anaesthetic and stuff. I weren't eating, and I went down to 97, and then a couple of days later I went back up to 100. So I was like, at least I kind of put my weight back on. But I know like I'm quite good at like weight wise. I can I know what to, like, how to eat, and kind of like not nudge it too much, but just taking a little bit more calories. And if I'm training hard, like the weight will come up instead of trying to put it on.
Yeah.
And then you have that weight where you're like, oh yeah, I've just put on fat instead of building it slowly with muscle.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Like, and it's interesting. People, listeners will know now about, because there's so many people listen to, want to get to that professional level, and they're doing X, Y, and Z, trying to eat clean and that. And sometimes, like you said, it's just knowing your body and what makes your body tick. Yeah,
it's a mad thing because, like, this is like similar topic, but like I got asked the other day about a 15-year-old, like if their parents asked me, is like, they're asking about creatine. I was like, what? I was like, you're 15. You don't do you mean you just eat well, train like.
Body's developing stuff.
Yeah, like I was training when I was 15 in the gym, and like it was good because like we had a good bunch of boys around us, but like we weren't doing stupid weight. We were training like sensible, and like it's doing it right. Like there's a lot of stuff out there. Like I disagree. Like you bite your lip at times, like what people say and all that. But like there's no. Well, like you can't have secret formulas and all that, but at the end of the day, it's training hard and training right and eating well. Like as long as like protein, you can take as much protein as you want, but if you're not training and your diet's not right, you're not gonna be like where you want to get to, kind of thing. Like,
what movements do you always find when you go to the gym? Like for your type of movements, what you do on the field is something that you like is a must for you when you go to the gym. Is there anything in particular, or you?
Bench press Snapchat.
What do you bench press?
Can you bench 100k? That was a thing, wasn't it, back in the day?
Yeah, it was.
Like I'm a big, like I can't really do them anymore because I got back issues. But like cleans were massive. Yeah. Like for me, I haven't squatted in probably 5 years. I just do leg press.
Yeah.
Because like it just plays on my back. Like single leg stuff, I'm big for. Obviously, just keeping your quad strong and like knee stability. Like you've had issues with your knee and stuff, but like
I found for me, man, like coming back, I was doing a lot of reformer Pilates.
Yeah,
man, don't want to jinx. I was doing a lot of reformer Pilates, and I got into doing cleans, power cleans, and stuff like that, and just strengthened my knees and my muscles around it. But I highly recommend Pilates, reformer Pilates.
Yeah, like
each of their own though.
I'm massive on stretching. Like you can't get anything better than stretching. And luckily, my dad, like, it started from like just doing a hamstring stretch. He goes, "Do this every night." Not every night. He'd do it the night before the game. I'll do it night before the game.
Yeah.
And then it went from like one stretch to two stretch, and then I got like a routine that I do, kind of like, well, like most days, even like in the morning, like you get up, go training, foam roll, do stretches, and then into your weights or rehab or whatever you need to do. But like you can't like not old school training, but like the old like reverse sled, power cleans, like squats, like just your key lifts.
Yeah.
And big thing for me, I've always said, and I tell any youngster, just make sure you're doing the little things. Like you might think, oh yeah, bench press and 100k, but then at the end of the day, if your shoulder goes, you can't do it. So just doing your rotate the cuff stuff, like keeping your shoulders nice and strong.
Yeah,
like just simple things are can be beneficial. Like your single leg squats, like it'll strengthen up your knees, so prevent injury prevention basically.
I think as well, man. Like obviously living in Australia now, I think one thing we don't do over here, I don't know if they do it now, but like touch rugby over there, touch footy over there is massive. And New Zealand, like they'll be on TV like touch rugby comps, and like it's like you're using vision, quick hands, peripheral vision. I think growing up, I think it's awesome that we lift weights and we're in the gym, but the fundamentals of rugby part is with the ball in your hand. So I think like if we can tap into that a bit more. Get like growing up, man, you'd be walking around with the ball in your hand everywhere you go. Everyone's got an iPad in their hand growing up now. You know what I mean? Gaming
it's changed
massively different.
Like I think I don't know. It's like people have got like a lot more professional, like kids coming through and all that because of like social media and stuff. You can see what other people are doing, like what someone else is posting, like professional athletes. So people try and replicate what they're doing, and it's good to see because like now you could. Probably like a lot of people seeing what they're doing, and back in the day everyone just used to want to bench press. Like now you can see kids like I remember I went to the gym, like we used to have the gym, didn't we? And I was up there one pre-season, this boy was deadlifting. I was like, mate, stop. I was like, you're going to break your back. Like, he's like, oh yeah, but I'm lifting. I was like, no. I said, the form you've got is horrific.
Yeah.
I said, just take it back, get the technique right, and build from there. And like, I seen him a couple of weeks later, and his form was real good. And I said, like, how are you feeling? He's like, really good. Like, I haven't had any problems with my back or anything like that. But it was horrific. Like, I was there, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, mate, stop. Now. Like, but it's just like making sure. Like, I'm big for like, because I've worked in the gym. I've been around this since I was 5. Like, weights, gym, cardio, and all that. My dad used to train me. Like, used to run around the gym and stuff. I worked there from the age of 10, so I've seen like a lot of like bad form, good form, like different types of training, and like I think it's getting like here in the UK now since COVID, you can see like a lot more people are active and want to be active.
Definitely.
And it's changed massively.
It's good
compared to like say Australia and New Zealand, because I remember out there you'd like the massive, I can't remember what it was called, but it was a massive park in New Zealand, and you'd have like netball court, tennis court, like one after another, and on a like Saturday, Sunday, you go there and it's rammed. It's just people going out and getting out and about, and like they would run around it. Like I would do my rugby fitness, like doing shuttles, and then my dad would run. I think it's like 5k around there. So you do a 5k around there, and I'm doing my shuttles. But like it has changed, and it's nice to see since COVID. Like a lot of people got their home gyms and just being a lot more active. Like that 5k challenge, like people are sending it. Like it's nice. It's good to see.
Yeah, it's good to see, man. One last question I got for you, brother, is when you are playing, and obviously you're growing up, who's been your biggest mentor? Like, it doesn't have to be someone you idol, but someone maybe in Cardiff or for Wales or for Lions.
That's easy. My dad, like, do you mean like anything? Like, my parents have never pushed me like to play. They've taken me. Like, my dad's taken me to New Zealand and stuff, but like to this day, he's still like, say I play and you'll like, we'll sit down and you go, oh, you played well today. And then other times, like I think sometimes in my head, I've played well. And he's like, what was wrong with you today? Like sometimes you can tell, like I don't know, like sometimes I like feel fine. And he's like, oh, your legs looked heavy today. You can just, it's weird. Yeah. And like, just like being around like the way, like you used to see how my dad used to train like a lunatic. Yeah. But like, I've trained with him 3 times, and they're probably one of the hardest sessions I've done to date. Like, and I think it's just having that effect. Like I'm not fit. I just dig in. Like some people are fit, but like I
some
feel
people like train like Tarzan and play like Jane. You know, but I think if you can flick that switch,
I just feel like I like you could do as much fitness as you want. Like boys, like some boys are flying fit, but I feel like I'm only fit because I can dig in. Like I'm like, it's weird. Like it's you know, it's like you see some boys like can fly. Like I was watching you play league. I seen like you were flying, like you said about your triathlons and all that. Yeah. I was watching you play, and I was like, some of these boys ain't fit, like, but you're flying back and forward, like.
Thanks, mate. Yeah. I appreciate that. I think it's like I think there's a mental switch. I don't know where it is. Or I think some have it and some don't. And if you can just flick that switch, it's like, you know, when you play the first 10 minutes of a game and you blow in. Yeah. Then you get your second wind. Yeah. You get that second wind, you're like, I'm good now. But you just need to get that second wind and just keep in the fight, you know. But like, I don't know, probably with me as well, always being one of the smallest on the field. I think I was at to try and prove to people and prove that I could keep it with the big boys, you know. But yeah, man, it's just, it is what it is. I think it's maybe being Bridgen boys.
The riff-raff.
Man, thank you so much for coming on. The last question, man, I ask all of my guests is, what are you grateful for?
What am I grateful for? Just the opportunities I've had, I think. I've been very lucky. Just my family around me, like we're a very tight family, and just like they've done everything for me, and just grateful for all they've done for me.
Nice, brother. Thank you so much for being on this.
Yeah, cheers, bro.